Hey guys, I just finished the editing for this episode and I realized I screwed up Quinton's audio. So I'm real sorry about that, but the content is really good. Enjoy the elephant.
I can't see you.
We'll both have glasses on. And 3, 2, 1. Glasses are on. Woo! Yeah, baby!
This episode is powered by Poddex.
So I have my answer.
Okay.
But I wanted to see if you could top it. And it includes, here's my thing, the question is like, what's the worst baby name you've ever heard of? But I'm going to include spelling.
Oh. See, I haven't heard like terrible baby names. Like, of course, there was that one baby name that was, her name was Abidi, but it was spelled ABCDE, and everyone made such a big deal about it. I'm not so worried about that. My thing is there are just some baby names that just do not fit until they're full grown. Like Ethel.
Oh, you give them like an adult name?
Yeah, like Ethel is a name for a grown woman, or Nigel, or Gordon. Like those aren't names that babies get or that babies have. But for some reason, I mean, not for some reason, but you know, for at least a good, huge portion of their early life, it's this tiny baby with a grown person's name. So that's
right.
So to me, those are the weird ones where I have to look down like, hello, tiny Gordon. That's just me. But what about you though?
My personal favorite is still, it was a kid named Zach.
Okay.
But it's spelled X-A-Q.
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 What the hell is that? Is it?
That's how you spell Zach.
Wait, no, but were the parents just trying to be weird? Because
yeah,
you
gotta be original.
Okay, look. My daughter's name is Estrella. It is a little weird. It is a little different, but I feel like once you explain it, people are like, oh, okay, that's how you pronounce it. Or that's how it's supposed to sound like. But Zach, X-A-Q?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Welcome to Utah.
Oh my God.
Where
Okay.
everyone thinks it's funny to spell things like way overly complicated.
Then I don't know what's wrong with your state.
Well, people got to be original, man. And so the original is, I want to name my kid Zach, but I don't want it to be the way everybody spells Zach.
Is that spelling better than Zachariah? Or would you rather be Zachariah?
It's just a full name. Like,
right.
It just sounds like, oh yeah, Zachariah is my full name, but I go by Zach.
Okay.
Don't call me.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm still not a fan of those baby names that just sound like they should be in a boardroom.
I mean, but you got to start somewhere, right? Because you got to have.
Yes. I mean, I guess that's why, like, you know, they have cuter names, like for Gordon, the baby would be named Gordo or Gordy,
right.
You know, something like that, and then they grow into a Gordon. I mean, kind of same thing with my son Franklin. He goes by Franklin now, but when he was younger, his name was Frankie. And then there was a time in which he said, "No, don't call me Frankie. That makes me feel like I'm 5 years old." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Now that makes sense."
Yeah, I feel like Franklin goes right in the same realm as Gordon and all that.
Yeah, no, that's true. What's something that you remember doing as a kid that if you were to do it now, it's just not the same?
I really don't know. What do you got?
Sleepovers. Like sleepovers as an adult. Like if I'm going to your house because you're in a completely different state, it makes kind of sense. But
Yeah,
if
it's adult sleepovers. That's literally what it is. It's adult sleepovers.
It's literally what it is, but at the same time, it's not the same, because if I go sleep over to my friend Radford's house, who lives like in in a city 20 minutes that way. We don't sleep in bunk beds or in sleeping bags in front of the TV talking about girls and stuff. No, he sleeps with his wife, and I'll go sleep in the guest room. Right? It's clearly not the same, but the idea of having a sleepover also isn't the same. And like when you have a sleepover when you're a kid, it's super exciting. You're like, and little Bobby's gonna come and Mark's gonna come. We're gonna watch Star Wars. We're gonna watch Star Trek. And we're gonna play Doctor Who. And I mean, these are the things that we did. And we're gonna talk about girls and cooties and things and stuff and whatever. And now as an adult, it's like, I gotta go do this thing over in this city. Man, like, I don't want to drive back. Can I just stay at your place? Yeah, sure. No, I'll make up the guest room. Cool. And it's like, and like, there might be maybe an hour or two where the adults are sitting around having a beer, having some wine, and talking about things that adults talk about. But the excitement of sleeping over at somebody's house is just not the same. I mean, I don't know how it is for you. I know that you hang out with everyone at the clubhouse quite often. I don't know if you've ever just passed out there. But
I mean, back on when they had the it's another whole story. The friends used to have this big, very comfy couch, and it was impossible to not fall asleep on it. Is the short story.
Oh, gotcha.
No, I'm genuinely trying to think, because sleepovers is a good one. I feel like sleepovers are a thing still, but they're just like the adult variation of it, and it's like the means to an end to it. Like
it is a means to an end. Yeah.
Well, not the means to an end, but like you don't do it because there's not a need, whereas back then there was a need. And like now it's like, well, I could have my friend over, but we both have our comfy places to play games with our headsets and our monitors and our da-da-da-da-da. We could just stay home and do this and be a lot more comfortable and just doing what we want.
I think you have that backwards. I think back then it wasn't a need. Back then it was a want. I want Quinnton to sleep over. Now it's like I need to stay over because I'm too tired to drive home. I need to have a place to crash. And yes, I could go home and play video games with you, and I could go home and enjoy my headset, my controller, and my setup to play this game, but I cannot. So I need to stay. I mean, that's just the way I see it. In the chat, Sean says as an adult he still talks about girls and Star Wars all day. No, I get that, and we all have our moments of doing that as well too. But it doesn't feel like it's the same where it's like this, when your buddy's coming over when you were younger, like, oh, I'm so excited to tell him this, or I'm so excited to tell him that. Now it just kind of either comes naturally, or it just doesn't have that excitement factor. The other thing that comes to mind is like Saturday morning cartoons.
I mean, that's just cheating, I feel like.
Why is that cheating?
Well, it's like
we're still into cartoons.
Oh.
You and I, like, we like cartoons. I mean, they've evolved in terms of what we like in cartoons.
You know what? I'll kind of change that a little.
Okay.
Because of everything, I would say something that I did as a kid versus now that would feel weird is just watching TV, like perusing a channel list and finding something to watch and watching regular TV.
Okay.
I cannot tell you how many years it's been since I've done that. And that sounds strange to me, because like I'll even, like, when I was house sitting a few months ago before everything, it was almost last year, I'd imagine, like they had TV, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit here and scroll through all this. I'm just going to load up Netflix. I don't even care if it's something I've seen already. I think I know it's kind of an odd one, but like, yeah, I remember, definitely sitting in the morning on Saturdays and watching the cartoons and stuff. I remember one time I thought it was Saturday, and I went over to my grandma's house, and I was supposed to bring my schoolwork, but I didn't because it's Saturday. I don't have school. And so I got there and I'm like, why aren't the cartoons on? And she goes, why would the cartoons be on? And I'm like, well, it's Saturday. So, and she's like, it's Friday. And I'm like, can I not get in trouble for forgetting my homework? Because I definitely thought it was Saturday.
I mean, when we were younger, like the structure of our days were a lot, I think were a lot better fundamentally because we had that. You wake up and you get going, and then, you know, you have a bedtime. Now as an adult, you either set your own bedtime, or for people like you and I, it's kind of wishy-washy. Well, I'll do it 1 a.m., maybe 12, or as we did in the past couple of days, just kind of, you know, pass the F out. But stronger adults have bedtimes and they stick to it, you know, like Chai and Sean. But for me, like, I work really well at midnight. Like, that's when my creative juices start flowing. And also that's when you jump on to play games. So I blame you, really. I probably would get to bed a lot sooner, but I blame you.
Don't we all?
Yeah. That's the name of the podcast title. Blame Quinnton.
Yeah, no, I definitely say watching TV in general, though, would be completely just weird at this point. If like, you could even offer me, honestly, at this point, you could be like, hey, we'll give you basic cable for free. And I'd be like, I don't care.
No, I mean, I think that's what we're offered a number of times when, you know, because we have Comcast and they're always like, hey, we have the triple play thing where you can get cable, you can get a phone line. Like, yeah, we'll give you a phone line for free. I'm like, for what?
There you go. There's another. Oh my gosh.
A what? What are we going to use a phone line for? And let me be clear. No. It is not copper phone line. It's a regular, you know, cable phone line. So if the internet goes down, my phone line goes down. So where's the benefit in that?
Hey, but it does function with a battery backup.
Okay, fine, whatever. But even still, man, like it's such it very much is an archaic kind of thing. I mean, when I'm sure you've had or heard a conversation around other kids, that, you know, adults telling kids, when I was your age, I used to have to take the phone. And the cord for the phone was so long because we didn't have cordless phones back then. So we had to take the phone cord, wrap it around the wall underneath the door, and then close the door so I could have my own privacy. But my dad would always hang up the phone while I was on the phone, you know, things like that. Like, those are things we don't necessarily have to worry about right now. But the way that I hang up the phone on my kids when they're supposed to be doing their work and not talking with their friends is I can do it digitally, which is amazing. I can either do it from the router, I can do it from the modem, I can ping their, because I know what their IP address is, I can shut down their IP address, or just shut down their computer altogether. So it's pretty nice. I recommend doing that if you have to.
I recommend at least not using the router and modem option. Parental controls are the best.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Not actually shutting down the router, but using parental controls to shut them down from the router.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the one kind of saving grace with some of these newer routers, because, you know, the kid will be smart. I'm like, okay, well, I'm blocked from this profile, so I'll create a new profile. I'm like, okay, little Bobby Joe, you can create a new profile, but because you're using that iPhone or because you're using that piece of equipment, I know what that equipment's IP address is, and I can just shut it down. And or if I don't know what it is, it has to ask my authorization to use the Wi-Fi router, and if I don't know who it is, I'm not giving you authorization. So that's kind of how it all works there.
Makes sense.
Yeah. No, I used to love Saturday morning cartoons, but nowadays, like with the kids, you know, the cartoons just come whenever they want because, like you were saying, because of YouTube, because of Hulu, because of Netflix, you know, whatever the case is. I just started subscribing to Hulu Plus, not the premium version of Hulu. It's still ad supported, so I'm watching ads to catch up with all these shows I've kind of missed, but I'm watching these ads for 1 minute and 30 seconds every so often. I'm like, this is what people have to deal with regular cable? This is terrible. It's horrendous.
I have a question. So for someone who has kids, like for TV shows and stuff like that, do your kids like care about, oh, the new episode will be out on Thursday or whatever? Like, do they pay attention to that? Do they have a television show that they're engaged with enough that they're like, oh, I can't wait to see the new episode. It's out on Saturday at 9 a.m. and I'm going to be there wherever there is.
It's funny you should say it like that, because it's not the episodic shows that they're excited about. It's the next upload from a YouTuber. Like, oh, they upload every Thursday. Like, oh, okay, I want to see what this creator has to offer on Thursday. So every Thursday, this, a creator will upload their show, and it might be gameplay, it might be like a toy review, or it might be like in the case of my son Franklin, it's a Gundam review of one of those Gundam models, so he really likes that. Also, the girl that he watches has big boobs, so he likes that. So it's it's those things that it's very much changed from watching a show to watching 7 to 10 minutes of evergreen content that is more instructive in some cases, but also it's not bound by company policies from like NBC or Fox or anything like that.
Right. No, and I'm curious because you are a very small amount of sample data. I'd be curious on people who don't have such a heavy influence from their father, who is a huge YouTube person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like because you know that you're going to have some influence on that,
and I think that's kind of the problem. If you look at it that way, if I were just a regular schmo, just a regular dad that wasn't a content creator, I wonder where my head would be at. Like, would I want to gear them toward more like, hey, let's go and watch something on Nick Jr. or Cartoon Network? Well, no, because I don't want to pay for those packages, so we're just going to watch something on YouTube. I don't know. I really wonder how things would be different.
Mm-hmm. So the question on our little shared document here is, where in your life have you been when you're like, you're in a situation and you realize, wait a second, I'm the here, like in the moment?
Yeah. I've had those. I've definitely had those.
Yeah.
One that comes up is when I was a salesperson for Verizon Wireless. I used to sell, cell phones and plans at an official authorized corporate Verizon Wireless store here in Northern California. And we got a mix of customers, and it was in a really like frou-frou rich area. I mean, we had Sean Penn come through, Robin from the Howard Stern show came through. We had a lot of really like famous people come through, but also a lot of tourists would come through as well too. So I had a group of people that came in, and I could tell by when I pulled up their account that they were brand new customers, and that's what you wanted. You didn't want the upgrade. You didn't want the person that had a customer service question. No, you wanted the brand new customer, because that's what paid you out the most in commission. So I was very, very excited. And there were 4 of them. So that's 4 brand new lines. And I was like, okay, we're going to make this happen. So we're talking. And if you go in sales, you'll learn that you want to ask open-ended questions, not questions that will make the customer say yes or no. You want to ask a question that'll make them go into a small story. And so I asked, where would you be calling? Who would you call the most? And they said Canada. Said, oh, Canada. I love Canada. I've been to Canada. I went over here to Canada. I went over there. Like, oh, and it was a really good conversation. I said, yeah, no, I mean, it's really the hat of America. And they said, we're Canadian. And the way that they said that was, how dare you? We're not the hat of America. All right. You're the pedestal that Canada sits on, because we are better than you. And I was like, just frozen. I'm like, I totally didn't mean that mean it to come out like that. Like, I am so sorry. So sorry.
It's like hanging your head in shame.
But I have 8 eyeballs staring daggers at me. Like, what did you just say? The hat of America? No. Are you kidding me? Now, this was back in 2009. It's not the turmoil between Canada and the United States is nothing what it is now. What it's now, it's all this tariff stuff going on. But back then, it was fine, right? It was fine. Nobody was like, I'm going to move to Canada to escape this, for the most part. But to call Canada the hat of America, if you don't get the joke, it's basically saying Canada's nothing except, nice, a nice decoration for us. And they just weren't having it. So I tried to pull out of it. I tried to like change the conversation and be like, oh no, I'm real sorry. No, like I said, Canada's great. And even the daughter, because there's 2 parents, a daughter and the son. Even the daughter, who was like maybe 19, 20, she's like, don't try and get out of this. No, we want to talk to someone else.
Straight up calls you
Just
out.
called me out. I'm like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. So I said, yeah.
That's awesome.
I said, yeah, no, I really apologize, and I'll go grab somebody else. Please don't leave. So I went to the back, and I told my manager, and I said, hey, do you mind sending someone else to go deal with this customer? Like, why? What's wrong? They're brand new. I'm like, I realize that. And he said, like, you need these activations. Like, I know, but they don't want to talk to me. Like, why not? Like, I'll tell you later. Just go get someone out there before they go to AT&T or T-Mobile. So my buddy, Octavio, he went and got them, and he was all happy and whatnot. And he didn't say anything stupid. And then I told my manager after the fact, and he's like, just keep your freaking mouth shut next time you think of a joke, because you clearly aren't funny. I'm like, yeah, no, I need to work on that. My bad. I mean, that could have been something that went all the way up the corporate ladder. Like, I could have gotten fired for that. Like, they would have found some sort of thing in HR to say, nope, that's
right.
That's a fireable offense. So I guess in retrospect, it's good, but
I personally think they kind of overdid it. Like, they didn't, like, it's a joke. Calm down. It's really the hat of America. And it's like, we're Canadian. And you're like, oh no, I'm just joking. And it's like, okay, like, it's the joke, calm down kind of thing. Like, it doesn't seem that bad of a joke. Like,
no, it wasn't that bad of a joke, but I don't know. It just all 4 of them, just not one of them saw the funny thing about it. And it's like, okay, I can't dig myself out of this hole. And they're not even giving me a hand. Like, that wasn't funny, but it's okay. Let's move on. Nothing of that. They, like, no Canadian, like, it would have, I feel like it would have been better if it probably wouldn't have been better if I said a boot just to be funny.
oh my
Can
gosh.
you imagine if I did that? That just would have ended my career, like, right there and then, I'm sure.
Never would have known you. You'd have died that day.
Do you have any moments like that?
I honestly can't think of any. And I'm sure, I'm not saying like, oh no, it's never happened.
Right.
I'm going to attest it to, I've blocked them from memory.
I was gonna say, like, I tend to hold on to moments like that. Like, like some of the trauma that I've had in my life that I can remember, when I reimagine it and I relive it, I have that sickening feeling. Like, oh my God, why did I do that? Right. And it's like, okay, but that was years ago. That was 10 years ago. That was 15 years ago. I have trauma that happened to me 20 years ago, and I still remember it, and it still bothers me. Why? Why? And I know, like, I was a literal kid back then. Why am I letting it bother me now? And there's no rhyme or reason, but it bothers me. You have the fortitude to say, oh, crap, forget about it. I'm moving on with my life. Yeah, I'm just going to go on. I kind of wish I had your memory, your superpower right there.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it did happen. I just couldn't tell you when.
Well, in any event, the next time something stupid happens in your life, write it down because we want to know about it.
This episode is powered by Pod Decks. Pod Decks are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you're a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience and have more meaningful conversations, you're going to want to check out Pod Decks. Now, if you want to get 10% off your order right now, you can go to poddecks.com and type in coupon code. What's the code?
Still recording.
Yes, that's the code. Check out poddecks.com. Take your podcast to the next level.
Hello.
I got the hard-hitting question for you.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the pod deck section of this episode. And I bring this up, but this is the green one. So here, we're doing pod decks now.
Okay.
And you guys can get your own set of pod decks if you'd like. You can go to poddecks.com and use promo code still recording, and you actually get 10% off your first deck. But Quinnton, is a hot dog a sandwich?
I mean, yeah,
Ooh.
it follows the same criteria as a sandwich.
Right, but when you think of sandwich, does hot dog even come into the fray, or do you think of...
No, it's like one of those things that's like by definition it's a sandwich, but like it doesn't seem to be a sandwich. Like, yeah, it falls under the sandwich umbrella, but like you'd never be like, yes, I'm going to have a sandwich. Here is my sandwich, the hot dog.
Right,
but like,
so it's not a sandwich.
You think about it, it's like just because you don't think about it that way doesn't mean it isn't that. Like it's like the same way as what is it like? What's the? It's like a nut, but it's like falls under the fruit category or something like that.
The peanut?
Do they fall under the fruit category?
Oh, I think they're a legume.
But yeah, it's stuff like that where it's like you don't think of it that way, but
Okay.
it does. I mean, like you have a split piece of bread
Or
with
like-
meat in the middle and like condiments and whatever else you want in there, and you hold it together and you eat it.
Well, you said it right there. That's the other thing, though. It is a split piece of bread. It's not two breads.
So
Most
that's how you do it with like. I mean, think about Subway. Subway doesn't split their bread. Subway cuts them down to about halfway, or I'd say 3/4 of the way through,
Really?
and then
You're going to use Subway as your litmus
mini
test?
sandwich shops. How about that? Mini sub sandwich shops
Have
do that.
two separate pieces of bread.
Just saying, it works.
All right. You know what? Before you brought up the whole Subway does it, so it must be. Before you brought that up, what you had said about how we not proceed, but how we like look at certain things, we just kind of agree that even though it's not that, we're okay calling it that. When we say, yeah, just go ahead and put all the veggies on the sandwich, that also includes like tomatoes. But a tomato is a fruit. But we know that it's a but we put it into that vegetable category. So I kind of get what you're saying. Like how in its heart of heart, the hot dog could be a sandwich. I can buy that to a degree. But that's in its heart of heart. I still think it's its own thing. Like it might be a subcategory sandwich, but it's like a very distant relative. Because when you think of, I'm going to have a sandwich, like you said, you don't think of a hot dog. You think of a BLT, meatball sub, any of those.
You know what's really good is a BLT with no tomato.
Just a BL. Why would you?
It is really good.
Why
Like,
would you
it's
have
not
just
healthy.
a BL?
A bacon lettuce? Have you ever had a bacon lettuce sandwich?
Yeah, but there's there's too much crunch. There's not enough like
But the crunch
moisture.
is what makes it.
Oh my God.
It's got to be fresh lettuce, though. You can't be using that crap.
This is what we're going to talk about. You need the tomatoes.
No, you don't.
Look, Quinton, I despise tomatoes. The only time I will eat tomatoes is if it's a ketchup or a sauce. But in a BLT, you need the tomato.
Nope, just BL.
Okay, well, this is where we
You have to
divert.
go to a restaurant, though, or like a sub shop and be like, yes, can I get a BLT, no tomato? And they're like, that is 1/3 of the basic ingredients.
I'm sure there's enough people. If you talk to a Subway employee, or as they like to be known as the sandwich artist, I'm sure they've had a couple of orders where it's like, yeah, can I get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with no jelly and no peanut butter, or something crazy where it's like, why would you even order that? Why would you even call it by its full name? Just say that you want a bacon lettuce sandwich. don't even call it a BLT. Whole DT.
But you need the tomatoes. No, you don't. It's super good without it. You get a tiny scrape of mayo across like one of the pieces of bread to add that moisture that Tony's complaining about.
Look, I don't want it to be wet, okay? And I'm going to say a word that I despise, but it needs to be a little moist. Gross. Mayo is delicious, Chai. This is where you and I diverge, but we're still friends.
Hey, mayo. Wait, okay, so what's your opinion on Miracle Whip then?
Oh my God, what? There's no
I'm curious.
miracle. There's no miracle.
It's different.
I can't. It's basically like
One is
like
sweet and one is tangy.
It's
One
too
is like tangy
sour.
sweet.
I don't like it.
Sour.
It's sour to me.
It's sweet. It's like got sugar in it. It's stuff.
It's too okay. The times that I've had Miracle Whip was not sweet at all. So maybe the Miracle Whip I had was like going bad or something. But I do not like mayo. I do not like Miracle Whip. I'm a fan of mayo, not a fan of Miracle Whip.
Yep. It's sour. Oh yeah, well what's the one you tried? Well, it was expired by a year, but that doesn't matter.
No, that clearly was not the case. It was not expired
It
whatsoever.
looked like petroleum, but that's not the point.
Oh, gross.
And no, it's not mayo. It's like Miracle Whip is its own thing. It's weird.
All
I
right.
used to love it, and then all of a sudden, like there was a day that I was just like seriously, never mayo, always Miracle Whip. And then one day I was just like, nope, we're switching.
Was that
Like,
the day you
couldn't tell
became
ya.
a man?
Sure.
I mean, like Miracle Whip to me is something that you give to your kids because, like you said, if it's sweet, kids gravitate towards sweet things, and if you're trying to get them to get used to mayo and it's tangy to them, which in my opinion, I don't think it's too tangy. I guess it depends on where you get your mayo. I don't know. But if Miracle Whip is sweeter, then maybe that's why. But then as your taste buds evolve and they become more mature, that's when like, oh, well, I've got a job now, so I'm gonna have regular mayo, please.
Not like light mayo, not
Can
heavy
you
mayo.
imagine
Wait,
going
is
to
there-
like? Can you imagine
on.
going to a fancy restaurant? Like, can I get a side of Miracle Whip, please? So we have mayo. I guess. I'll try it.
You're really irritated about it.
Never come here again.
I like light mayo, not heavy mayo. Heavy mayo. Is there such thing as heavy mayo?
Like,
Like,
I
yes.
think,
Can I get mayo with extra like lard in it or something?
I think what Chai's referring to is the amount that you put on the sandwich. Like for me, one small scrape of mayo is not enough. I
Yeah.
need to taste it. What you could do a small scrape of for me is mustard because I cannot stand mustard. I mustard and me are not friends. Not at all.
It's gross.
Gross. Small scrape
Right.
of mustard.
Yes, the amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still think we should invent heavy mayo. How you have light mayo with like reduced fat, reduced sugar, reduced everything like that. It's literally the opposite. It's like, no. We poured extra fat, extra sugar, extra
4
everything.
times
This thing
everything.
this is like packed. Like if you eat a tablespoon, it's like 1,000 calories. Okay,
It's death.
you're ready. There is heavy mayo.
I don't know
out there
how
somewhere.
I don't know how the FDA would approve that. That would have to be some sort of artisanal thing that you sell at a farmer's market, because there's no way you could get that onto the shelves nowadays. It's like, yeah, but wait, it's vegan. It's like,
Look, gosh. No, here's the answer. Here's the answer: is we market it as thick mayo, but THICCCCC.
give me that thick mayo. Get it now.
I'm gonna vomit.
Oh, we're going to hell. All right. How many chickens will it take to kill an elephant?
That's what? Why? What is with these questions? What? How many?
This is the what the heck deck. So in the what the heck deck, they're just random, nonsensical. This will probably never ever happen in your lifetime, or at least in person. But how many chickens will it take to kill an elephant?
Enough to bury the elephant.
Okay, but what number is that? You can't just say enough.
Enough to bury. You get like
That's
a
the kind of
steel,
answer that when the teacher
like a
says
tool.
find X on this triangle, you're like, there it is. Like, no, you have to figure out the formula and tell me what the actual number is. Don't just point at it. What's
Okay,
the
how big's
actual
the
number?
elephant?
Okay, we're
How
talking.
big is the elephant? How big is the chicken? How big is the volume of the chicken? How big is the volume of the elephant? Then you need a container that has the volume. Like you have to have the volume of the container, and then you put the elephant in there. You minus the volume from the elephant from the container, and then you fill the remaining with chickens, and there's your number.
There is no container. There is just elephant and chicken. There's no freaking container. There's a chicken, a bunch of chickens, however many, and a full-grown African elephant, tusks and all, saying, "What's up, bro? Come at me!" And a gaggle of chickens, or whatever, a flock of a murder of chickens.
You need enough
I don't
that
know.
it buries the elephant and causes the elephant to die, much like how bees kill their enemies. Chickens have to kill the elephant the same way, of just burying him and then overheating the elephant and killing it.
What is that number?
I told you. You take the area.
Don't give me the area. You tell me an exact number. Is it 200 chickens, you think? Is it 1,000
significantly
chickens?
more?
And also, for the other question that I have is, why would the chickens be attacking this elephant? Do you think the elephants are going for the eggs?
I don't think we're worried about who's versus who and why. It's just more of a it's a cage match, just like. Well, and see there, now we've got a cage. Cool. So we take the volume of the cage.
Match. And it can't be infinity chickens. That's fundamentally impossible. There's got to be an end number.
Infinity chickens.
You can't do
It never said
chickens.
infinity chickens. No, it's just the amount of chickens that it takes to bury the elephant alive. You use the chickens like you do sand. You just however much it takes to make it so you can't see the elephant anymore.
I appreciate that. I just want to get a concrete number. And thus, we can create an algorithm to say if the elephant is a full-grown African elephant, and Quinnton says it takes 2,000 chickens to completely suffocate the elephant, then we can, from that, extrapolate. Okay, well, if it's a smaller elephant, we only need 1,500 chickens. Go, 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 up to 1,500. So what is your number of chickens?
Of a fully grown African.
Those guys are really looking it up.
Elephant. We could do some rough estimates if we're okay with just turning everything into like a box, just so we can have like.
What's with you in containers, bro?
Well, we're just trying to get some basic data here. You're trying to like make things complicated, but
no, you're trying to make things complicated by bringing in this hypothetical box. We have to build we got to build a box now. Where are we going to find the material to build the box? No, you're walking outside and you see this giant elephant. You're like, why is there a giant elephant in the middle of Salt Lake City? And then you see a gaggle of chickens.
I just wanted you to know that the tusks weigh anywhere from 51 to 99 pounds. Continue. And they can be about 5 to 8 feet long. Continue.
That's humongous. So, but the tusks can be used as weapons. These are the tusks, by the way, of the elephant. They can be used as weapons. 30,000 chickens. We'll just call it 30,000 chickens and then just be done with it because you want to build this hypothetical box, which is going to take time. I'm saying you walk out your front door, there's an elephant, a gaggle of chickens, and they go at it. How many of the chickens, without a box, are going to take it to take down the elephant? With the elephant, with 2 tusks that are 8 feet long that could kill a chicken and impale like multiple chickens in one go, get a collateral damage, if you will. And what is that number? And you can't tell me.
They're about 8.5 feet tall, to 10 to 13 feet tall for males.
What, the chickens?
No, yes, the chickens. So we'll just average that out at 10. We'll just leave it at 10. At 10 feet, and I just need the other 2 parts of this equation.
How wide is an elephant?
How wide is an elephant?
At dimensions.
They're wide.
At dimensions.com, it actually gives. Okay,
Here it is. African head and body length, shoulder height, weight, head and body length, shoulder height.
If you go to dimensions.com, you too can look at this. Lifespan,
What's
70 years. So we'll just say, I don't know, 30 feet across.
30 feet. Do you hear yourself?
That's one white elephant.
Well, we gotta guess the width. But if we average everything out, so that's height is 10, length is like 13, and then we'll say what, 5?
Sure.
Just as like a guess.
Yeah, we'll guess it at 5.
Okay, and then we just need to bury it in chickens.
Yes, we need to bury it in chickens. You don't think if enough chickens focus on like the elephant's eyeballs, that it would like just be pecked to death?
It might be pecked out of being able to see, but it's not going to be pecked out of being able to kill.
Fair enough. Okay. I'm still going to go with about 2,000 chickens. That would be my guess. About 2,000 chickens.
All you do is length time width time height,
and
right?
height, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
650.
We're doing math, guys. Like, math is exciting.
We need something to hold all that. You probably need like 2,000 chickens or so, like maybe 3,000 if you want to pack it tight.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come up with a number: 2,000 chickens. Minimum. Anything past that would just be an absorbent amount, and where are you getting all those chickens? Yeah.
And I'm measuring everything like it's just, cubed. So I measured the chicken at like a 1 by 1 by 1 cube.
It is very interesting how you and I both took a very opposite approach at this particular question. I was going more as a hypothetical on the spot. That's the amount of chickens. You were like, "Whoa, I've got time to calculate." Like, you don't have time to calculate.
No,
Just
no.
give me
I
a
think
number.
what the answer is you were like, "Oh, LOL. Let's say how many chickens." And I said, "Wait, no, we're killing an elephant. Let's figure this out so we have the right materials to kill this elephant."
So you want to be more correct, whereas I want to be more.
No, I want to be making sure my target is dead. My target is the elephant. It needs to die, obviously.
All right, fair enough.
But the only ammunition I have is an infinite amount of chickens.
So how do you feel? You just killed an elephant.
Well, with chickens, I've got dinner. I've got probably squished chickens and a dead elephant that overheated, so maybe even slightly cooked.
I'm not leaving that in the podcast.
Why?
I don't want PETA coming after us.
Yes, because I'm going to go out and kill an elephant.
Your words, not mine.
Are all elephants endangered? I actually don't know this.
No.
I know there's some species that are.
Right.
And I know it's like illegal to hunt them for their tusks and stuff.
Well, yes, that's true. But there are organized hunting parties where it's actually good to hunt, not endangered species, obviously, but it's good to hunt.
Like push them back into the wild kind of thing.
Kind of push them back, but also, ironically, the hunting parties that you can join, although they do cost like tens of thousands of dollars, that money goes back into the community, which greatly needs the money. So by you saying, I want to go hunt these animals, and as long as you stick to the animals and they say, okay, you can pay us money, that money will go back into to the community. You can go hunt the animals, and it kind of, as you said, kind of pushes back maybe overpopulation, and it just kind of helps Mother Nature along. What the problem is back to your point, poachers who just don't give an F or rat's ass about anything. They're like, I just want money, and I want I want the ivory. And then we see these amazing sculptures made out of ivory. We're like, oh wow, they're amazing. Oh wait, elephants died for this. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you're watching live here on Twitch, twitch.tv/LazyTechTony. But then if also you can watch on YouTube or listen via your favorite podcast catcher. You can find us on Instagram at Still Recording. But Quinnton, where can people find you?
On Instagram and Xbox at Firewall.
You guys can find me at those places under Lazy Tech Tony. I've also got a Discord, and you can check out the Discord link in the description here on Twitch as well as YouTube and all the other places. I'd love to get you a part of that community. Our goal is 100 Discord server members by the end of this year. And if you're watching live, make sure you vote tomorrow. Good luck to whomever your candidate is. But aside from that, guys, take care, be good to each other, and of course yourselves. Bye now.
Bye, guys.
Heart.